Very good morning, students. So, here we are going to start with our new chapter, that is chapter number 5. You will ask, ma'am, that our chapter from plant kingdom is finished. Then, yes, we are finished with those topics which are this time suggested by CBSE. We are not considering the deleted syllabus right now. Once we are finished with our syllabus, then we will move on to our deleted portion, but right now we are concentrating on majorly on those topics which are mentioned in the syllabus which is issued by CBSE, right? And in these topics, maximum of the times I'm trying to cover out that all complete detail, which is really going to helpful for you in your NEET exam also, right? So in this chapter, one thing should be clear to you, that in morphology of flowering plants, there is the flower inflorescence is in right now in your topic in your syllabus, and then we have to talk about one family in the complete detail. That is what we are going to discuss in this chapter. So today I have taken a very beautiful structure which everybody loves to watch, but we never knows exactly about this structure. If I truly speaking, तो हमें फ्लावर के बारे में एक्चुअली पता ही नहीं होता है कि कौन सा फ्लावर कैसा है. So today I am going to take you inside the flower, right? Very beautiful structure, very beautiful plants with the multiple colors which shows or which are a beauty, right? So let's talk about the flower, and let's first talk about the parts of the flower. When we say the parts of the flower, then as you can see, there is on the base there is a stalk. This is known as stalk of a flower, or this is also known as pedicel, right? Then there is a swollen portion, as you can see. Let me make it with this is the swollen portion, and this swollen portion on which all other parts they are arranged, this swollen portion is known as thalamus or receptacle. The swollen portion on which all other parts they are arranged, they are placed, this is known as thalamus or receptacle. Now look at this green portion which is coming out here, that is known as sepal. This is known as the sepal. So sepal is what? It is the outermost wall. It is the outermost wall. Usually it is green in color. What is its function? To protect the flower when it is in the form of a bud. And all the sepals together they form a wall, and they are known as, this is known as then calyx. All the sepals together they are known as calyx. Individual member is known as sepal. जैसे अगर मुझे इसको mark करना हो, I will mark it as a sepal, but all together they are known as calyx. The function is to protect when the flower is in the form of bud. When all the sepals they join together, then we will call them calyx. Now the colorful portion which you like the most, the colorful petals, the colorful portion of the flower, it is known as petal, and its purpose is to attract the different insects, different birds, different animals for the pollination, right? So that is why they are beautiful in the different colors. Individually they are known as petal, but all the petals together they are known as corolla. That term you should know, that petal is a singular term, right? When we are marking the single petal, then we will say petal. We don't say the corolla. But when we are referring to the beautiful, different, colorful these petals, then this is known as, together it is known as corolla. Now calyx plant corolla, both calyx and corolla, they are non-essential whorls. What do you mean by non-essential whorls? They do not participate in reproduction. That is why they are known as non-essential whorls. After this, there is a long structure which arises from the thalamus, which is having these two lobe structure. These two lobular structure is known as anther, and this is known as filament, and together they are known as part of stamen. So what is a stamen? It is a complete whorl is known as. It is a male reproductive structure, and complete whorl, many stamens together, will be known as androecium, and single one with single anther and single filament, then they will be known as stamen. But together many stamens, suppose if I say many stamens, there are lots of stamens together, then we are going to call it androecium, which is male reproductive structure. The innermost structure which arises here, that innermost structure is pistil. As you can see, this is the swollen base and this is the slender, long, elongated structure, and at the tip there is the stigma. So there are three parts of a pistil, that is ovary, style and stigma, and they together they are known as pistil. Style and ovary, these three are the main parts of pistil, right? It is the innermost whorl, and the complete is known as gynoecium. At the tip it is present, stigma is present at the tips and receive the pollen grains. Style, as you know that style is what? Style is a long slender like structure, and at the base there is a swollen part which is known as ovary. So gynoecium, the whole together whorl is known as gynoecium, and single is known as a pistil. Please remember these terms very carefully, that pistil is a single female part. Together whole whorl is known as your gynoecium. Petal is, we are using it for the single, the complete many petals, then we are going to call them as the corolla. Same for the sepal, single is sepal but together it is calyx. And anther and filament, they are stamen for one only, and together whole whorl is known as androecium. So calyx, corolla, they are the non-essential whorls. Now androecium and gynoecium, they are the essential whorls. Why? Because these are the whorls which participate in reproduction. These two whorls, they participate in reproduction. Now one major thing which comes is sometimes asked in objective questions also. Flower is modified root, modified leaf, modified root or modified shoot. Flower is a modified or highly condensed shoot or stem. Now you will ask how. Suppose this is our long shoot, right? This is long shoot. It has these nodes and internodes parts, right? So as you can see, from first node there is arising these sepal, then next node there is petal is arising, then third node there is the arising of these stamen, and at the tip, at the apex, we are having pistil, right? Now just press this structure. Press this structure and you will observe that जब आप इस स्ट्रक्चर को प्रेस करोगे तो फर्स्ट नोड से सेपल निकल के आ रहा है, सेकंड से हमारा पेटल, देन उसके बाद मेल पार्ट, then female part. So just it is the highly modified shoot only. So when you take this shoot structure, when you press it, the typical flower structure has been formed because of this thalamus and pedicel. Because of this shoot, exactly, it is like a highly modified. That is why we make these thalamus and pedicel even flattened. वो एकदम उसको modification के बाद वो बिल्कुल आपको flat नज़र आते हैं, right? So definitely yes, there is no doubt that flower is हाईली कंडेंस्ड मॉडिफाइड शूट. कोई भी फ्लावर को मॉडिफाइड लीव्स या मॉडिफाइड स्टेम मॉडिफाइड रूट नहीं लिख के आएगा. मॉडिफाइड शूट इज द करेक्ट आंसर. नाउ फ्यू important other terms. If all the whorls are present in a flower, all the whorls means androecium, gynoecium, then there is calyx, then there is corolla. If all these whorls they are present, then the flower is known as complete flower. If any of this whorl, androecium, gynoecium, calyx and corolla, any one of these whorl is absent, then flower is known as incomplete flower. So we have two types of flowers, a flower with all the whorls and a flower in which any one of the whorl is absent. Now very important terms. There are few plants in which calyx and corolla they are not distinct, or instead of, you can say that instead of calyx and corolla they have another whorl which is known as perianth. So only one whorl is observable, that whorl is known as perianth. Individual member of perianth is known as tepal, and whole perianth is known, a whole whorl is known as perianth. मतलब calyx and corolla जहाँ पे नहीं है, so instead of calyx and corolla there is only one whorl which is known as perianth, और इसको individually क्या बोलेंगे, tepals. अब कुछ बच्चों को यहाँ पे बहुत confusion होता है. Now people in few books it is written, या some people think that it is calyx and corolla which fuse together and form perianth. बच्चा ये गलत statement है. Don't take this statement right. कैलिक्स एंड करोला फ्यूज होके पेरेंथ नहीं बनाते हैं. सिचुएशन इज दैट इंस्टेड ऑफ कैलिक्स एंड करोला there is the another new whorl and that is known as perianth. ये क्वेश्चन गलत नहीं करके आना है. If the statement is given that calyx and corolla they are fused and they are formed the perianth, then please that is a wrong statement. Important terms which are used in the description of a flower, very important to discuss here. Bisexual flower. A bisexual flower is when both reproductive whorls are present. कौन सी reproductive whorls हैं हमारे पास? Androecium and gynoecium. This kind of flower which has both flower, I'm saying if this is the, suppose that flower we have drawn, and in this flower we were having this gynoecium part also, as well as we were having female part also, male part also, right? So a bisexual flower is that which is having both reproductive whorls, gynoecium as well as androecium. Unisexual, if flower has only, अब uni है तो if flower has only one reproductive whorl, then it is known as unisexual. अब कौन सी whorl? If only androecium is present, the flower will be known as staminate. If only female whorl is present, the flower is known as pistillate. Now, this was though about flower, that if both the whorls are present, androecium as well as gynoecium, then the flower will be bisexual. If only male or female reproductive whorl is present, then flower will be known as unisexual. Now, if we talk about the complete plant, if a plant has both male and female flower, or you can say both staminate and pistillate, that plant is known as, please mention me your answer in the chat box, in the comment section, because the statement which I am giving right now, that we discussed in our yesterday's lecture. If a plant has both male and female flower, or both staminate and pistillate, it is known as, I'm not going to answer this. Example of this is very famous one, coconut, maize, ricinus or ricinus. That is the examples of this kind of plant. Please answer this in the comment section, please. Right? It is always better to answer. It is always explore yourself. Don't wait for others to answer the things, or don't think that if others have answered, I will not answer. This is not a good approach to learn. If one plant has only male flower and other plant has only female flower, then plant is known as, that also you have to tell me in the comment section. An example of this kind of plant is papaya. Monocarpic. Many in garden you will find there is a male papaya differently and female papaya differently. So this was about the plant. The another term is monocarpic. Monocarpic means how many times a plant produces flower. If a plant produces flowers only once in a lifetime, it grows, then it get mature, and then next dies, and then next year new plant grow. That kind of plants are known as monocarpic, and they are very commonly observed in the seasonal plants and the crops. एक ही बार grow करते हैं और उसके बाद जैसे ही उनका season खत्म होता है, they die, and the next time you have to grow new plant. But polycarpic, they can produce the flowers year after year. The best example to understand polycarpic is mango. Mango tree doesn't die. It flowers year after year. This kind of plants are known as perennial plants. Right? So, two types of plants, monocarpic by polycarpic. Now, if we talk about the symmetry of a flower can be cut into two equal halves from any plane. If you can cut your flower into two equal halves, as you can see, if you can cut it into two equal halves from any plane, then it is known as actinomorphic. But if we cannot cut flower into two equal halves, then it is known as zygomorphic. They show bilateral symmetry. Means if you want to cut them into two equal halves, there only one plane you can use. Only they can cut into two only through the one plane, not through the all the planes. But actinomorphic क्या होते हैं कि आपके पास कोई ऐसा प्लांट जिसको आप इक्वली सारे planes के through equally cut कर सको, that kind of plant is known as, that kind of symmetry is known as actinomorphic. And if you cannot cut into equal halves through any plane, then that is known as zygomorphic. Last few more, that is the aclamidious, monoclamidious and diclamidious. Then I will take the leave. Just listen to these terms. Aclamidious. A for absent. A for absent. It means if both calyx and corolla are absent, the flower is known as achlamydeous. If only one accessory whorl is present, more than the, or you can say perianth is present, then it is known as monoclamydeous. If both the whorls calyx and corolla they are present, then it is known as diclamydeous. देखो अगर तो absent है बिल्कुल ही, then will be achlamydeous. अगर दोनों present हैं, then it will be diclamydeous. अगर एक common accessory whorl present है, which is the perianth, then it is known as monoclamydeous. I think that all of you got clear idea about these terms, right? So go through this today's lecture. That is these are the terms which are we going to use in our next whole lecture when we have to draw the diagram for the family members, right? So please go through these terms. You should know these terms very specifically, and I will meet you with